I call up Cody if I need a beat.
Yo, sounding like a Kappa. I'm never an act. All these activists, these 8-week motherfucking activists. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tony Drifting, YMD Tony, Tone, Antoine, whatever the fuck you call me. This is my little corner. So what's up? Been talking about making a podcast for a very long time. I don't know if this will count as a podcast, but I'm very serious about making content. For the longest time, it's just been, do I have the tools? You can't see the setup, but you'll be able to see these little camera cuts. And who knows, maybe like a third camera. I have like 3 or 4 cameras, but you know, certain point is overkill. Like, how many different ways do you want to see my beautiful face, right? That's where if y'all was here, y'all would laugh, because it was still getting in shape and getting in shape. You know what I'm saying? I got it closed off right now because it's still in training or whatever. But no, in all seriousness, you know, thank you for being a part of this experience. If this is the first time you're part of it, if this is the last time, well, I was gonna think of like a dope line. I was like, if it's your first time, okay, I don't like that. So anyway, so part of it is gonna be cut off because my camera likes to stop recording from time to time, so I apologize. We'll figure out some of the technical difficulties, but I guess that's just a sign that it's time to keep it pushing. So some of that will be cut out, but obviously, you know, it's really dope to be able to chase after your dreams. And so I think even though a lot of us are told one way of thinking, it's really important that you remember that you are the master of your own destiny. Like, it's the amount of effort, it's the amount of hustle, it's the amount of determination that you have that's gonna really define who you are and what your blessing is in this world. And so please never forget that. Please never doubt yourself, no matter what people say about the feasibility of your dreams. Like, it's all relative, man. It's all relative, and it depends on what you want. You know, some people, they want to be the greatest of all time. Me. Some people want to be like, just, you know, impactful and enjoy their profession, their career. Also me. But you know, you have to have the right people along the way, and that's I say I'm not gonna make it too long, but I'm the type of person who's like, oh, let me talk you 5 minutes, and then we're talking for like 3 hours. So if we can get it under like an hour, that'd be dope. You know, I said that like there's somebody. Excuse me, director. Also, shout out to me for producing, directing, editing. I got you can't see where the mic. Well, I guess you have to see that I have a mic, but this is an experiment. So thank you for being on that journey once again. But today we're gonna talk about just friendships. You know, evolution of friendships. I was gonna go on Snap. I deactivated my Twitter about like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. So real quick update, like I did like 2 or 3 blogs after the Bucks won. I was real hype. I was like, oh yeah, Milwaukee, we gotta get our city, and I still feel just as hype. You know, I was working with young adults, or not young adults, but more, because I'm a young adult, but high schoolers, teenagers, just kind of, you know, working with them to figure out how to impact change in their communities. And so I spent 6 weeks of the summer, you know, doing that, and it was a very rewarding, beautiful experience. But then I lost my hard drive. Or I didn't lose it. I can actually show you that broken piece of shit now, because I tried to recover the files and I couldn't. But for a while, that just basically made it so that I had to really sit there and think about like who I wanted to be going forward, because who I once was now gone. My photos of the past year and a half, 2-3 years of my life, because I got that hard drive in 2019, were gone. You know, pictures, memories I created were gone. So, you know, the onus now became on me to create new memories and to mourn the loss of what I thought were some very beautiful ideas, some very good progressions into the world, but you know, nothing lasts forever. So here I am back again, trying to figure out who I am, but also like how to evolve, because that was then and this is now. So within the theme of evolution, I'm back to what I was saying about Twitter. I used to be on Twitter a lot, just, talking my shit, because that's what I do. Positing things, making jokes, being myself. But I have a mixed love-hate relationship with social media, as most people do. I love the propagation of knowledge, of just anything that can give you the tools to say, like this, like, there's so many things I've learned from observation that have benefited, what I'm doing now. And I'm actually grateful that I didn't even send those other ones out, because I feel so much more comfortable now in like the setting that I'm creating now versus when I was, trying to figure it out, and oh, they won't like that. Oh, this is too long. Oh, where am I gonna put my laptop when I record? Because I'm gonna be moving around. Like, honestly, I wanted to do like a whole balcony series, but Milwaukee gets cold. So I'll do some on the balcony, but I'll probably be doing a lot in my room. This is my room, my home studio, my humble abode. I'm here with my mom. And I'm very grateful for all that. But, all that being said, I think that like that space has given me a lot of opportunity to, think about who I wanted to be and how I was going to make that happen, how I'm going to make that happen. And a big thing I'm realizing is there's really two very important things amongst a million other important things. But the two most important things right now for me are support system and your system. And so support system being the people who are your friends, your family, your mentors, your allies, your collaborators, your associates. And those, a lot of those are different things. They're not all the same thing. So, like some people think that when you say those things that they're interchangeable, but no, like a friend to me is not a friend of me, right? So a friend to me is somebody who is more than just, oh, we have good conversations and we enjoy each other's company. That's like an acquaintance, or like, like, I guess you can have a friend who's just, oh, we talk about shit and I see them every once in a while and they're cool peoples. But I think what I'm talking about is those who are in your inner circle, those who know the most about you, those who have been through things and are actively willing to grow with you. I have friends who I haven't heard from in a while, and there are times where you're like, man, bro, like, do they care about me? But it's like they also haven't heard from me in a while. And so it's that balance. But there's, also friends I have who I talk to all the time, every day, and we're super close. And so it really depends on the context of your relationships, but so that's that support system. But then there's also your system. And so what I mean by your system is anything from how you create content, how you organize your thoughts, the things you do to keep yourself healthy and in balance and aligned with yourself. Like, I am a person who has always known of the magnitude of my own talent. And that's not to like brag on myself. I can do that a lot though. So, that's, but, so I'm not Mr. Super Humble, but I think when I talk about the magnitude of like talent, I mean like the magnitude of my capability, right? And that's because, and I actually was having a great conversation with my mom last night, just about just like, the things that she did as a parent that encouraged me without saying, I'm going to make my kid a star. Like when I was 3 or 4, she took me to a Disney audition, and I'm a big like spiritual, harmonious person. And so I feel like my spirit knew how fucked up Hollywood was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in like some form of reincarnation, some form of this being a version of me, version of a larger consciousness. That might be all one and the same, might be, one disparate part of a higher consciousness that is distinct, but chooses different embodiments, so who knows? We can get in that on a different episode. But it wasn't, you're gonna make this happen. We were watching one of those documentaries on Michael Jackson and his death, and was he narcissistic? Was he a pedophile? Was he all these different things? And I think Michael Jackson was a complex figure who had an astounding impact on music and entertainment, and who had a traumatic ass life experience. And so I'm not gonna excuse behavior like if that shit, what they accuse him of, is true. but I'm also not going to sit there and cast judgment at a certain level for somebody who I never knew and could never really understand all the trauma and all the pressure and all the you know, just what it takes to be that level of a performer. And so, you know, just thinking about all those things, you know, like having that system wasn't pertinent for me, because although I was aware of the magnitude of my talents, although I had expectations, I wasn't necessarily like, oh, well, at 6 a.m. I do this, and I do 50 jumping jacks, and I jog 3 miles, and and I eat these foods, and I organize my room a certain way. I was always a go with the flow person, and I still am, in the sense that, like, at a certain point you only have so much power. But I think for me, like, it's not really about the power aspect of it. It's about understanding that choices you make today impact the choices that you're going to make tomorrow, and those choices impact the next day. Everything is cumulative. It builds up over time. And even if it's something as little as, oh, well, I'm going to go link with shorty because I know she want to fuck with me, but you actually hate shorty, that can, I don't know why I did that shit, where that came from, but like, you might say to yourself, oh, it's whatever, you know, that's one night. But that could be one night that you was at the crib, you know, making your magnum opus, or you know, reflecting on something, or going out to see some other people, you meet an even better shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Friday night, I think. Yeah, it's Friday night. I could be out doing whatever. I'm at the crib making a fucking podcast, because I know that tomorrow I'll have content to edit, versus saying, well, tomorrow I'll do it. Well, tomorrow I'll do it. Well, tomorrow I'll do it. No, so and I'm a very long way from having the system mastered. But that being said, I'm realizing now, because, you know, I went to college for 5 years at AU. No shout out to American University. It's a trash institution. Good people there, but a trash institution. And I'm not talking about the people who are like staff. Like, okay, there are good people everywhere, but AU was a very it wasn't a nurturing community. It wasn't a nurturing environment. And I feel like times they played up on the fact that they wanted students to be competitive and to think that they were, you know, trying to, you know, be some elite, whatever. So, you know, I didn't enjoy a lot of my experience there, but the uncomfortability of that experience made me realize that I had to step my game up. And that even wasn't until, like, I literally basically told myself I'm not finishing at AU during the pandemic. I was like, I'm not finishing here. I might not even finish college. And I think that might be the real shit. Honestly, I don't really know anymore. But, you know, all that being said, the system helped me to realize, and helps me to realize, it gives me clarity, right? If I know the things that I want to accomplish in a day and how I want to accomplish them, then I can get them done, versus saying, well, I have a million ideas and it'd be nice if all those ideas came together, and I'm gonna go with the flow and figure this shit out, right? So your system is super important. Some of the things I do is that I'm starting to try to implement is, one, I'm trying to, you know, get into a habit of bedtime. So, you know, going to bed at 11, waking up at 5. That's not gonna happen tonight, but it's the weekend, so we'll give myself a little bit of a pass. But the reason why I say that, and the reason why I think it's important, is because, you know, a lot of people think that my boy Larry was telling me about this, and he was talking about Kobe, and how Kobe basically was like, you know what, bro, like, I wake up at 3 a.m. therefore I have 3 more hours than the guy who wakes up at 6 a.m. to train. And for me, like, it don't matter how much, what times, but it's about getting into a routine that's gonna work for you. Now, I'm a person who likes to work at night too, so it's like, you know, if I'm gonna work at night, I can't always wake up at 5 a.m. But the goal is to get into a circadian rhythm, is to get into a rhythm that my body understands, so I can restore my rest, so I can sleep. Another thing that I've just started thinking about is cutting back on my weed consumption, because weed affects the memory. And so I'm not an anti-cannabis. I love weed. I really do. And I don't think it inhibits me in the sense that, like, I can't get things done on weed. But I do think that there is something to be said about, the natural body. I don't really drink a whole lot either. So weed is really the only thing I do. I don't really like a whole lot of drugs. I've tried plenty of drugs. I'm like not anti any of this stuff. And it might come off this way out this bar, but like I've definitely like drank hella. I've definitely smoked hella shit, smoked so much. If I had all the money I spent on weed right now invested in Bitcoin, from the start of when I started smoking weed back in 2015, I would be a millionaire, maybe a billionaire. But you can't live in the past. So your system is just like, it's super important, man. It's super important because without it, you're not gonna be able to like perform. So we'll be right back. I gotta like turn the other camera on because it likes to just stop in the middle of it. So we'll be back. So we're back. Did you miss me? But yeah, so I feel like that's really important, just like making sure that you understand and recognize like your system. But the other thing I want to talk about is friends, and that's been hard. That's been so hard. Because I had two best friends who, one I absolutely don't talk to anymore, and the other who I'm at the point where I don't really want to talk to them anymore. And that's for, the reasons that they are. I'll get into them shortly. Not super in detail because I still am resolving things with people, so you don't want to put all their business out there. But the disconnect comes from two different areas. Well, one that they both share is accountability towards how their actions, their thoughts, their behavior impacts me one way or the other. Whether that comes from like, oh well, they don't take credence, or is credence the right word? They don't take into account like the feelings I have towards a certain situation, or they don't take into account in the fact that like there's inconsistency in the reliability, so there's that part, the accountability to like the way that their words have affected me, their actions have affected me, or their lack of action, the lack of words. But I think the other thing is about just like the value that they provide to my life. And so somebody be your best friend, they have to be your best friend. They have to be, they have to be your friend who no matter what is gonna fuck with you. Like that they are people who have your best interest at heart. They're not somebody who's gonna be trying to compete with you for validation. They're not somebody who's gonna try to bring you down. They're not somebody who's gonna do things that don't align with your values. And by that, I mean, I'm not gonna get in details, but one thing for me is having respect for the situation you're in, for the people you're around. I don't date really at all, like, and it's mostly because I don't care enough about most of the women that I start to engage with at a certain point to really say I'm gonna continue focusing on you or whatever. Like, and also some of that was confidence too, but still, even with my confidence issues aside, I think it's so many people would rather be with somebody they don't care for, or that they don't care enough about to treat well, than to just be like, I'll be alone, I'll thug it out, I'll find new people. And so when you start doing things that are not cool for me, I gotta fall back. And also, like, I'm a conversationalist, you know what I'm saying? I love talking to people about all different kinds of things. I love communicating. I don't love being in constant communication. And so it's pretty easy to be my friend in some regards, in that, like, if I don't hear from you for like 3 or 4 weeks, even if I really want to talk to you, I'm okay. Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, that sucks. I would have loved to talk to them, but I'll just like chill, or I'll talk to somebody else, or I'll work on something, or I'll meditate, or I'll like jerk off or something. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things to play too. I shouldn't have said that, but whatever. And so, I feel like that's one of those things where, over time, you learn how to be kind of self-reliant and stuff like that. And so, one of my cameras about to die, so I'm gonna this other camera just is like, I did not come here, I didn't sign up for this shit. I don't want to be on screen today, so we're gonna go this way for the rest of the time being. But it's really hard to be a good friend, and the reason why I say that, even though I don't think I have a hard time being a good friend, is because being a good friend, in my definition, means that you're willing to step outside of yourself and evaluate how and what and why and where your actions can and do impact other people, especially the people that you supposedly care about. And so for me, you know, a lot of people, they will say like, oh, that's my friend, so they'll give them like grace. I think you should hold your friends into a higher accountability than people you don't care about. And that's what's always weird to me. Like I've one of my friends who I'm referring to, they do so much to be like in other people's world and to be valuable to other people and to like make things work with people who don't give them any like real shit. Like, all right, this one I'll talk a little bit about. I'm not gonna go super into detail because like that's just not who I am personally. Like, I don't enjoy putting people's business out there on some crazy shit. But we have been friends for a while, all throughout high school, known each other since we were young. And, you know, same continuing college. We had a couple tiffs over the years, as friends do, and fell off for a little bit. But, you know, we came back around. But after that person graduated from college, they had moved elsewhere with a significant other. And I noticed that there was a tension that existed whenever I was around talking to my friend. Oh shit. Hey, we in trouble now because the other camera shut off. What do I do? What do I do? So we're back one more time. I'm sorry about all this chaos, man. But that's show business for you, bro. You never know what's gonna happen. But no, so basically, you know, we started to kind of fall off. I kind of told them, yo, you know, I'm going to give you some space, respect your boundaries. You know, obviously there is an issue with my presence at times, so I'm going to fall back. You know, it's nothing personal. I get it. You know, I want your relationship to be successful, and, you know, maybe he's just not comfortable with the idea. Maybe, oops, maybe they need to know. I mean, if it's like, it's a girl, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, like, what are the reasons? But anyway, so, you know, the long story of it, and what the ending point in what our relationship was for me wasn't really in how she addressed that situation. It was really just the way she addressed most situations where I held her accountable about how I felt about a situation. And where it was always like, either I don't care, or your feelings don't matter, or you're wrong. And just toxic behavior, you know what I'm saying? Like, hitting me up drunk as fuck, talking about something. I'd fuck with you if I was attracted to you. Like, why would you could tell me in the morning, nigga, like, like 3 a.m. with drunk as shit. And just other things, you know. And so, you know, I told her that I was gonna fall back. And then I just get this, you don't know what you're talking about, like, you don't know our relationship. It's like, okay, I don't know your relationship. Fine, you know, cool, my bad. And you know, but over time it was like you're sneaking around to talk to me. You're talking about, you know, certain things and making it even more, you know, using me to maybe as leverage, maybe to make dude jealous. I don't know. Maybe you have feelings. I don't really understand. You know, I still don't to this day understand what her purpose was in all this. But I just knew that at a certain point we could no longer really have that relationship that we once had. And it was because you can only hear somebody who's your best friend tell you that your feelings don't matter so many times before you start realizing that they actually don't think that your feelings matter, that they actually don't see you the way that you see them. And like that some people have healing that they're not willing to do. And that's really the case with a lot of my friends. It's not about being perfect. I have friends who I irk them, they irk me, family, you know, like, but I feel like the friends that I keep around are the friends who are willing to look at themselves and adjust their behavior and be open and be honest about where they are. And I think both of my former best friends, and maybe the thing is that I also was part of this too, I had my own version of it, we're narcissists. And narcissism comes around when there's unresolved trauma. I'm not a doctor, so please do not like quote me, although I do watch a lot of YouTube, so I'm pretty smart. But you know, from what I understand about narcissism, the gist is that due to uncertain, whatever conditions in your world, in your space, you distort reality to compensate for the fragile emotional state that your younger self or whatever part traumatized self had to protect. So maybe there's more grandiosity, maybe it's manipulating people and making yourself the victim, you know, or sometimes there's like benevolent narcissists. Every narcissist doesn't have to be a bad person, horrible, and I don't think every narcissist has to be a narcissist forever. I think that all things need to be learned and unlearned. And so I think at a certain point, when I started looking at my own, and it's actually funny, it's so funny. So I got this book called Everyday Narcissism. If there's a book you should get, that's the one I recommend, because it's all about healing from trauma that we learn as children that we don't realize we're learning. And so, you know, I'm reading this book or whatever, and both of my friends back in 2018, they disappeared. They had not heard from them, not been able to get in contact. One just was like in some real shit, and I was like, are you even alive? The other had always kind of been like flaky as far as communication, but it was like, yo, I have no friends in college that I trust the way I supposedly trust y'all. And y'all are gone. And so it's ironic because I left them both messages and said all that shit. It's how I felt, and things got better. But as I was healing, I started to realize that you can either go further into your darkness, into your despair, into your insecurity, or you can rise above it and continue to look at yourself and say, hey, these are the things I don't like about myself, and some of them things I can change and some of the things I can't. So I'm going to focus on the things that I want to change. I'm going to focus on being a better version of myself, even if it's not the best version today. And I'm going to move forward. And so in that process, you need to be around people who are also willing to move forward with you, right? You can't be saying I'm going to move forward if you're hanging out the same people who don't have anything aligning with you. And like I said, I have friends who they want to be psychologists, they want to be lawyers, they want to be doctors, they want to be engineers, they are those things, you know. It's not about we have to have the exact same interest. It's about our attitudes and our spirits aligning. And so with the female friend, it was about complicated feelings, and also like a lack of accountability to the ways in which she would hurt me, and the ways in which she would make me feel like I was used, or I was just there for her emotional validation, because I used to like her like way back in the day. And so getting out of that cycle of, I don't know, we hadn't been in that cycle for a long time of chase be chased, but I think that as I was becoming more confident in the person that I always knew I could be, that becomes attractive, but it also is jarring in the sense that, like, okay, I've never seen you in a place where you seem self-sufficient. You're not codependent. And so, like, I don't feed off of our shared victimhood or our shared, you know, whatever that we had. And that's I think our relationship was very codependent at times. And I, like I said, I have a lot of love for her. Like for, not like in the sense that, like, because time is so weird that it feels like a lifetime ago. Like somebody that you look at and you say to yourself, like, that was my best friend. Like, seems like a foreign person. But I still just love who she was for me at the time that I needed her to be. And that's not gonna change. And my boy too. But when my boy, it became more about resentment that I believe existed for a very long time and was never addressed, was never talked about, was never that, and also feeling like you can inflict pain on other people. And that part, I won't say was less, but if you treat somebody else a certain way, there's nothing stopping you from treating me that way. And that's why I treat people generally the same. Like, because I know that if I treat certain people worse than I treat others, it's a slippery slope. I can justify anything. And so like for me, the turning point was when there was doubting that wasn't the typical, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought this thing through? It's like a consistent nagging. Oh, well, you sure? Oh, well, you sure? I've told you my answer multiple times. If I tell you this once, I probably mean it. If I tell you it twice, I definitely mean it. If I tell you 3 times, I might slap the shit out you if you keep asking me that dumbass question. You feel me? So like that shit, you know, that I don't like when people cast unnecessary doubt on your dreams, on your thoughts. Like, I don't care if my homie said tomorrow I'm gonna be a foot model on OnlyFans. All right, bro, cool. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'll be real, I don't understand. But niggas be making money on OnlyFans. Women be making money on OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? The hell of people make money on OnlyFans. So, bro, go do what you gotta do. But think things through. And if things don't work and we have to talk and have a conversation, I'm gonna tell you what I think works. I'm gonna tell you what I think doesn't work. And I'm gonna ask you, do you want to keep going? And if you say yes, great. Now, if you're in a space where I see that this is not working and you're really in pain, I will say, yo, hey man, are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you sure that you are able to be a part of this? But when there's nothing that is even on the table of struggle, of hate, of pain, I don't want you put in doubt before I even start growing, before I've even fully watered the seeds. I'm planting the seeds. I'm watering. If I plant a tree tomorrow, and before I even water, you're saying, are you sure this is the right soil? Have you done this? Have you done that? Do you think about this? Well, I don't know. A lot of trees don't grow at this part, you know, like, I just don't want you to I don't want you to, no, you don't want you to be in a position and you're projecting your emotions and on your inadequacy onto me. I don't like that. I also don't like when you try to tear people down or try to make shit a competition or brag about simple ass shit that most niggas can fucking do. Like, get pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that is good friendship, you know. And also, like, back to my whole thing. I told you I'm trying to cut back on weed. I don't drink a lot. Just dependency on certain things outside of your own self, and not in the sense that you can do everything alone, but at the end of the day, like, when I die, I'm gonna be by myself. You know, when, you know, like, everybody I love is gonna be dead at some point. So, like, at the very least, I have to be able to depend on my own ability to be successful and happy and whole. And I can't look for weed to be there for me. I can't look for liquor or whatever your vice of choice. I can't think that sex, meaningless sex that has no connotation, is gonna fill that void. The void will exist, but I can exist within that void and be cool with who I am. And so, you know, those are all things I are super important to me, is being able to be cool with being who you are and not having to explain things, not having to tear people down, not treating people badly because it makes you feel better about yourself. You know, just taking that path seriously. And so not everybody gets there. And it's easy for me to judge people from the outside looking in. But notice how I've never said anything about not wanting to see them successful or not wanting to see them grow, or they were terrible people to me, so I hate them. No, I just don't like to pretend like I feel a certain way about people that I don't feel. And I don't like to have long drawn out conversations when I already know what the conclusion is. You know, I don't like saying, oh, well, let's try to figure it out. No, if we figure it out, we do. If we find time and space, we find time and space. And if you really want to, like, hear from me and talk to me, you'll find a way. You'll send me a text, you'll call, you'll do whatever. And like I said, some of that has happened. But some of it is like, okay, well, if you're cool with letting this friendship die, then hey, it's dubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was what it was, and we move forward from where we are. But I definitely feel like friendship is one of the most powerful, beautiful things you can have in your world, in your life, in your space. The friends you have are sometimes better than the family you have. I have a whole side of my family I do not really like associate with, and it's not because I think I'm better than or worse than them. It's just we don't have that connection. Like, we never had that connection, so it's hard for me to really be like, that's my family. That's people who I'm biologically related to. And you can feel how you feel about that, especially even some of my family who might watch this, but relationships aren't just names. Just because you were my best friend in 2009 doesn't mean you're my best friend in 2021. Just because you're my best friend in 2020 doesn't mean you're my best friend in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like it has nothing to do with who you are. It has more to do with who you were. Sorry, it has everything to do with who you are. It has more to do with who you are than who you were. Because we can't live in the past. We have to live in the moment that we live. Can't live in the future. Can't live in the past. You can only live. The only perspective that you experience on a daily basis that you say, this is my lived reality, is the current reality that you're in. So today, August 27th, maybe it's the 28th now, 2021, and that's arbitrary too, but that date in time that we record as human beings is the only time that I know now, that I experience, I'm living in. I'm not living in 2019. I'm not living in 2028. I'm living in 2021, end of August, getting ready to go into the fall. And so it's hard. It's really hard because you get to this point where, like, especially when you start like making those transformations in your own life, where you start like wondering, like, how do I go on without these people? How do I be okay with knowing that I no longer can do this? And I still feel bad. I feel bad because there's certain things that you still want to do. You still want to call and say happy birthday. You still want to say congratulations. You don't want people to think that you just hate them or you don't care about them. But you also don't want to get caught up in being accountable for other people's feelings when you know they'll never be accountable for yours in a way. And so sometimes the best thing you can do for a person is let them be who they are. And that's the thing, I'm focusing on, is letting people be who they are, but surrounding myself with people who are, able to be honest with themselves, who have the same hustle, who can teach me things, who can push me, who can give me valuable feedback, who care about, what it is we're trying to accomplish and who we are. And those relationships don't have to be 9, 10, 12-year relationships, although they tend to be the ones that become 9, 10, 12. I have friends who even sometimes in my creative process, I work with them who I'm frustrated with at times. But I know that we're all working towards the same goal. I know that they have their own life. Sonder, we all have dynamic, complex lives that cause us to do things even if we don't want to do those things, right? And so, like, I am okay with the friend who doesn't necessarily make me the priority every day. I don't even want to talk to most people every day. I really don't. Like, too much of anything is a bad thing. We all need moderation. But what I do need is niggas who are going to be real with themselves. Because that's the thing I'm always real with myself. Okay. I'm mostly always real with myself. That is one thing I have rarely had a problem with being able to say, okay, I was shitty in this situation. Or, okay, I want to be successful, but I'm not putting the work in. Right? If I'm not putting the fucking work in, how am I gonna be successful? If I'm not being a good friend, how am I gonna maintain relationship? And not everybody's gonna be your friend, man. Very few people are your real friend. And I'm dead ass when I say that. I have like 4 friends in Milwaukee. One I barely see. Another one I kind of see, kind of link, and we're also like business collaborators as well as friends. And then, everybody else, I'm cool with hella people. I'm cool with so many people. I think so many people are dope. Some people feel like family. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not cut and dry in the sense that, like, I don't care about these people. These people don't have impact on me. These people are my community. But I'm saying, like, when it fucking comes down to this shit, I got like 3 or 4 niggas who I really fucking know I can fuck with. my cousin probably, my boy, my other boy, and then yeah, some other folks, like some other. I just don't want to be like super specific right now because I just still trying to get the kinks worked out, and you know. But actually, fuck it. My cousin Papa, my boy Hassani, my boy Javon, my boy TJ, my sis, my god sis Ty, and I've also been gone from Milwaukee for a really long time, so that's part of why I have less. But those are people. My guy Khalil, that's Hassani's brother too. Even though we're not super close in the sense that we don't always communicate. Like I feel like him and his Hassani and Khalil are like a package duo for me. Yo, so I fuck with both of them heavy. I fuck with their energy. But yeah, you know, and even them, I've seen like 3 or 4 times the past, like collectively, not even like each individual, collectively, I've seen like 3 or 4 times the past like 5 months. Maybe more. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But like, yeah, you know, and that's okay, man. It's okay. Like, but there are so many people I love. Like, I love from the human sense. I love from the sense that like, I know that they care about me. I care about them. But I'm not gonna hit them up every night and talk to them. I'm not gonna bring them in on certain things. I don't hold the value to them a certain way. And then I got other friends around the world who may have been in Milwaukee, who may have been other places who I care for dearly, but they're not all here. And that's one thing that my life has been good with, is just, you know, like being able to travel and move around, so that I've become accustomed to making relationships work from a distance and finding new relationships and, you know, developing different dynamics with different types of people. But, you know, I think at its core, friends are the people you feel safe. You know, I feel safe around my mom. I feel safe around some of my mom's side of family. I feel generally safe around them. You know, I feel safe around those people that I mentioned. I feel safe around my church community for the most part. And I'm not even like religious for real. I just go to church sometimes because that's my community that raised me, that loved me, that cared for me. That still supports me and believes in me, even when I'm a fuck up. And I'm a fuck up less than the average nigga, but still considerably. So, you know, I'll wrap up with this, man. No person, no human is perfect, and they never will be, myself included. Damned as I might, damned, or maybe like, anyway. But like, I feel like even without everybody being perfect, even without everybody always knowing what you need and what you want, you're still going to know the people who your spirit connects with. And that's the thing. Like, your spirit has to connect with that person. You have to want to be around them. You have to, when you hear they call, even if you don't want to talk to them at that moment right in time, you still have to, like, when you see that, you're not like dreading the conversation. Or you know that if it does get to a rough part of the conversation, you're not gonna be dealing with, you know, people projecting or taking things personally or doing things like that. Like, there has to be open, honest, vulnerable communication. And then just a general support. You know, I'm not a guy who tells like any of my friends to repost my music. I don't care about that shit. I don't care about any of that shit. I care about you asking me what my next moves are. I care about you encouraging me. I care about you know, you being a safe space. And likewise, and vice versa. And if I feel like I can't be a safe space for you, because I have people who fuck with me, and I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about them. Like, but I don't pretend like I do. I don't give you the same. And that's what's really fucked up. I'll leave on that note. There's a lot of people in this world that, by me being decently, like me being an asshole in my standard, is the closest thing to somebody being nice to them. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking crazy? That I can treat somebody relatively worse than I would treat somebody, and they will fuck with me more than their very best friend. That is crazy. That is fucking insane. And it's indicative of the world we live in, where so many of us are guided by a negative emotion. I remember when I was in college, I was a senior at AU, my first senior year, and I was so mad because I had a bad experience, and I was like, how dare these younger students want a better experience? If they want a better experience, they're gonna have to find it the hard way like I did. And then my boy was like, bro, what? Ain't that the same shit that they did to us? You know what I'm saying? We get caught in these bad habits, these bad feedback loops. We're around people because our bodies are accustomed, our minds are accustomed to these people. Not because we like these people, not because they give us life, but because I've known this person for a long time and I don't know what my life would be like without those people. So that being said, focus on you. Focus on the people who you care about. Focus on the people who affirm you. But focus on you and being your best self. And I think the right people will come along. Relationships end, and they're painful when they end. They're uncomfortable. They don't make sense. One part of me about these friends is like, has wanted to, have a conversation and Although that part of me is waned considerably. I just still have that feeling of damn, like, who knows how we'll cut this up. But I was right there and then I overshot it. But yeah, man, that's about my time. I really appreciate you if you watched this video, if you listen to the audio for it. Tony Drifting, like and subscribe, or whatever this platform, but I think it'll be on YouTube as well as, other streaming platforms and things like that. I'm gonna edit it and post it, but thank you, and just focus on y'all. Focus on being your best self. The right people will come at the right time, as long as you're active and focused and proactive and making sure that your needs are being met. Everything else will fall into place. Just give it time, and don't be afraid to readjust, because I think that's the one thing I've been saying the whole time, is that evaluation of self and those around you and how they contribute to who you say you are, who you say you want to be. So that's it. I hope this is okay. I won't say it's the first, because I've done this shit I've done 4 of these trying to get it together. But this has been a great first one. I'm definitely gonna have some more topics. We're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff, not just like friendships and relationships. No, not politics, but spirituality, personal development, business, music, sports. The one-stop shop for just vibes and common sense conversations. I like that, common sense conversations. So it's your boy Tony Drifting. YMD Tone, phone, whatever you want to call me, as long as you call me. We out. Peace.